You know what's worse than a bad game? A game that flirts with greatness, buys it dinner, and then ghostwrites a breakup text and sends it to itself. Doom the Dark Ages is that game. It walks up looking like a chiseled Chad forged from pixels and testosterone, punches a demon in the jaw, and then immediately slips on a banana peel labeled design choices. It is the weakest of the trilogy and I really wish it wasn't so. It doesn't mean the game is bad, far from it. If other games were great, this one is just good, but even the weakest Doom game in this trilogy is far superior to most AAA games. But just like a great parent, it is also my responsibility as a lover of this franchise that I point out why it barely missed the mark on being the best Doom game ever. Is it bad? No. Is it good? Technically. Do I recommend it? Yes, on sale. Why? Because it's not a game, it's a crisis. An identity crisis. This thing doesn't know what the hell it wants to be. It wants to be Dark Souls, it wants to be God of War. Hell, I think it wanted to be Monster Hunter for 5 minutes but forgot the rest of the plan. What I got instead is a lukewarm smoothie made of other better games blended into a chunky mess of parry mechanics, confused pacing, and the emotional resonance of a tax return. It's like its software was rummaging through their game design closet, slipped on all of the outfits at once and looked in the mirror and said, "Perfect, we've innovated." Visually, oh yeah, it slaps, the vistas are stunning, the lighting is meaty, and the whole world screams, yay, old medieval hellscape. But that's still a $70 McBurger with ray tracing. Yeah, it's hot, so is the inside of a microwave burrito. Doesn't mean I'm taking it home to meet my parents. But regardless, Dark Ages still performs like a dream. No stutters, no crashes, no shader compilation bullshit. But that's just good code, that's bare minimum. But I guess we're at a point in gaming optimization now where you get a medal for actually delivering a game that works. In fact, Dark Ages is the video game equivalent of dating your ex for the third time. It starts hot. You think this time it will work, this is it, but halfway through you realize you're just repeating the same mistakes, only now it costs more and drags on even longer. On surface, the game feels like it has a lot going for it, both in terms of quality and quantity. But the more you delve into it, you realize the balance of quantity and quality is severely messed up. One small step for Doom Dark Ages and 2 steps back for the Doom franchise as a whole. I don't even care about it not playing like Eternal Doom 2016. If anything, I do enjoy the fact that they try to make it different. I commend them, but in the word of Gabe Newell,
explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world, I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy. And I have never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun.
I play games to have fun. And with all the flaws that 2016 and Eternal had, not once can I say that I was dragging myself through the game just so I could justify myself the ridiculously high asking price of this game. And I had to drag myself through this game because it stopped being fun back at around stage 12 or 11. The major hindrance to this fun is the shield mechanic itself, along with the exploration part. Let's talk about the parry system itself. It's like if Doom, Sekiro, and For Honor had a baby and that baby was abandoned in a GameStop parking lot and raised by YouTube clickbait. You don't learn the fights, you wait for the game to give you permission to play. When we look at other games that have parry mechanics, for example Sekiro, the bosses and mobs have enough variety to them that parrying still feels fresh. Here the game had already become stale the moment they started bringing in the serious mechanic of invincible guy hidden behind a shield who can still harm you but you can't. You can't kill them until the game's like, okay, here's a mob wave, and again fight the same guys you have fought 400 times and then maybe we'll let you tickle the boss. And this is pretty much true for all the fights. Oh, also, did I mention that every single boss fight is nothing but a spongier version of the mobs you have already fought? Imagine a sponge, now give that sponge some armor and a shield and the personality of a plain oatmeal. And that is pretty much all of the bosses. Some bosses are cool, but most of them, they are not. In fact, even if they were cool, the cool factor runs away so fast because you have already fought the same boss countless number of times. In fact, I feel like bosses are pretty much a multi-phase allegory for erectile dysfunction. You're hyped but you know you're not finishing. By pretty much stage 11 or 12, the boss fights are basically not a test of skill but a test of patience. Not can you beat this but can you sit through this. For now, let's set all of this aside. Let us start with the most objective criticism for the game. The music. It is honestly meh. The music slaps about as hard as a wet noodle. I am 99% sure it was composed by asking ChatGPT to generate aggressive fantasy combat metal in the style of Mick Gordon, but worse. It's forgettable, flat, and about as punchy as elevator music in a medieval themed H&M. I checked my playlist after playing this game, not a single track made the cut. Doom 2016 made you want to rip and tear. Eternal made you ascend to a higher plane. Dark Ages makes you want to check if your speakers are on. If the music is the soul of Doom, then Dark Ages has the musical soul of a corporate motivational video. For the story, you thought Eternal's plot was confusing. That was Shakespeare compared to this. The story in Dark Ages is like reading the Bible backward during a fever dream. There are cutscenes, things happen, someone probably died, I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't tell. All I know is they made Thera look cool, gave Doomguy the emotional range of a depressed linebacker and expected us to care. Gone is the righteous fury of the Doomslayer. Now he's just a guy who broods a lot, walks slowly, and gets resurrected once. That is it, that's the highlight reel. In fact, there's only one badass moment that I actually even remember. And it is where he goes full Kratos from hell and claws his way back from death. But aside from that, he might as well have been replaced by a Roomba with anger issues. Onto the movement, I will praise how the Doomguy feels in this game. In previous game, Doom was a slick slayer. In this game, he the thick slayer. Because goddamn does he feel tanky and impactful when he's moving. It is in this aspect I will say that Dark Ages is an upgrade. Doomguy feels really fun to move around, especially jumping and falling onto the ground. The sheer impact of Doomguy hitting the floor like a meteor and killing everything in its radius was always fun to do and see. Now let's talk about weapons for a moment. They feel impactful, they feel heavy and cool, but what is the point of giving me such a huge arsenal of weapon, but then make switching to the other weapons so slow that it is actually a risk sometimes to even switch to them? The quantity over quality rule once again becomes a major topic of discussion in this department. You've got 13 weapons. Sounds awesome, right? Wrong, most of them are so sluggish to switch between it's like the game's punishing you for daring to use your full arsenal. The Super Shotgun and Cycler basically carry the whole game on their back while the other guns collect dust like NFTs in 2025. I'd rather have 6 weapons that feel amazing than 13 that handle like a senior citizen's YouTube history. Clunky, confusing, and oddly specific. I'd be happier with just 6 or 7. Now someone might say, but that is just Doom Eternal, but I would say hear me out. 6-7 weapons with more upgrades per weapon with a lesser delay in switching to another weapon would have been a great act of balance. But how? By bringing in mechanics of previous game where you can use different weapons to shoot different parts of demon in order to kill them quicker. That would have actually made the game much more fresh later on in the game. But no, they had to bring in shield guys again and with more HP and even more bullshit mechanics and with even longer mob waves. Yeah, it gets pretty boring by the end. You're basically dragging yourself. I really don't know why they didn't implement some of the things that were actually working for the previous games. Just because they wanted to reinvent the wheel doesn't mean throwing some of the things which really did work. Now, if by this point you haven't really understood what is a combat loop, let me put it this way. Remember how Eternal made a combat puzzle box? Use this weapon, target the weak point, dash, glory, kill, beautiful chaos. Here, it's Groundhog Day but with worse dialogue and more shields. You enter an arena, parry 50 mobs, wait for the parry cooldown boss to be exposed and repeat. It's about as stimulating as watching paint get dry. Every fight is the same. Shield up, kill mobs, shield down, hit boss, now do it again and again, now for 30 hours. Are you having fun yet? Basically, my issue with the game is that you have pretty much played every single part about it by the stage 12 or 11. After that, it's like you're playing DMC4. I also want to talk about puzzles and exploration a bit. Exploration in game is supposed to reward you. In Dark Ages, it punishes you. 1 to 100% a level, this is what I was doing. Get ready to replay mob rooms with longer spawn cycles and bosses that soak damage like they're made of couch cushions. And the puzzles are just pretty stupid. You just have to find something hidden behind some place and then move forward, yeah. Now don't get me wrong, the game isn't trash. It has its moments. It's fun sometimes. The mech section, they are based. In fact, I was enjoying them much more than any other part of the game, mostly because I didn't have to fuck around with parrying and killing the mobs again and again with the same kind of loop. So yeah, I do recommend the game. Now don't get me wrong, the game isn't trash. It has its moment, it is even fun, but only in bursts like I mentioned. The mech section in fact is also pretty based. I enjoyed it the most because That was at least something different than having to parry and kill the same mobs again and again and again and again. Jumping into the ground and nuking demons with shockwaves, pretty cool. The rest, it's like dating someone hot with a terrible personality. Good for a night, not for life. This game tried to be everything and ended up being alright. Not bad, not great, just good. Would I recommend it? Yes, when it's on sale. Because even mid-doom is still better than 90% of all AAA slop out there. So Car and Took, peace out.